What's up? We got The Flash, Season 3, Episode 10, Boring Problems from the Future. So this episode... starts off where it's been 1 month since Barry made Iris live in their house, and Barry's been having nightmares again. This happens every time Barry has nightmares of one of his love interests dying. He basically focuses on that and basically doesn't tell his love interest. I guess Iris is different from Patty because she's on the team and Patty didn't know the secret and wasn't on the team. But yeah, Barry basically focuses on it. So then there's like a fire and we see Flash and Kid Flash saving the day. But the guy they save basically says, there's two, hey, it's the Flash. And there's two of them. So he basically just badmouths about Kid Flash to Joe, saying, oh, what if he's the Flash's partner? What if he's the Flash's... Well, this guy needs to learn. And he's like, we call him Kid Flash. And he's like, see? Kid. He's not as powerful as the Flash. And while he hears all this, while pretending not to hear all this, this dude needs... dude... Some guys are just ungrateful. This dude saved your life, and all you can do is badmouth him to his dad. Some people are so ungrateful. Because what did Wally just do? He and Barry just saved this guy's life, and what does this guy do in the next scene? He basically just badmouths him to Joe, and he's like, did you hear all that? He's like, hear all what? He's like, nothing, just dumb cops. So we see this new So Barry goes to the Central City Jewelry, and he sees the Plunger, the same guy Barry's supposed to take down in the future. So he basically just sits there and lets the Plunger escape, thinking that will change the future. That's what he thinks it'll do. He thinks they're stopping, just sitting there and just being like, da-do. So yeah, so next time Barry, yeah. So now we get the next arc is the Star Labs Museum arc, where HR wants to make a Star Labs museum because, I don't know, human resources didn't have anything else to do. He wants to just make a random thing that'll probably never be mentioned again or seen again. So yeah, so Caitlin talks to Julian and he's like, hey, I'm sorry for what happened to you, Caitlin, but every time I see you, it makes me remember bad things I did as Alchemy. But she's like, hey, why don't you just help us? Help Team Flash stop Mayhem. So it's like, yeah, I'll think about it. So they're basically making Julian a good guy here. Because now we know his past and we know what he's done. They're making Julian the best character. Thank you, Julian Albert. Thank you, Tom Felton, for being my favorite character now. Even though when we first saw you, you were kind of a bit of a jerk. Thank you for turning my eyes and making you the best character. So anyway, so next we see is Plunger, but Plunger's about to shoot Barry, but that's when Wally shows up, and Barry gets mad at him for doing that. Barry, you would have, died. You wouldn't have had this conversation with Wally because you would have been dead. So you better stop thanking Wally. And even Joe's like, ease up, Barry. This dude just saved your life. I know why Barry's acting this way, because he just saw the future. He just saw Iris, his supposed love of his life, die. So how's he supposed to come to terms with the fact that in the future, or in a few months from then at the time, Iris is supposed to die? How's he supposed to come to terms with that? All he does is yell and yeah. So, well, even Iris is like, yeah, Barry. And yeah, so Iris basically takes Barry basically takes Iris to the time vault, which she didn't know was there. Huh? How did you not know that was there? You were in that in season 2, episode 18, Iris. Unless Flashpoint erased that. Unless Flashpoint totally erased that scene from existence, she was in the time vault in that episode. What do you mean she didn't know that place was a thing? Bad writing. Let me guess. Bad writing. Or Flashpoint completely erased that scene from season 2, episode 18 from existence. Actually, it couldn't have because Barry and the team still remember everything prior to that point. So I'm guessing Iris just, that's terrible writing on Iris' character. Because they remember taking out Zoom, and they remember, you know, Barry's dad's death before Flashpoint. So Barry basically tells Iris, basically shows Iris a Time article, and she's like, and he's like, hey, the Time Vault article has changed, and she's like, the Flash missing vanishes, crisis Barry. You know, yeah, basically yesterday would have been 2 years. Barry would have disappeared 2 days, 2 years, like 2 years from yesterday. So yeah, but anyway. So Barry's like, yeah, you didn't write the article in this new timeline. She's like, maybe I just quit my job. And he's like, no, when we saw the Sorcerer's Stone, I'm gonna call Philosopher. I know Sorcerer's in the English version. Sorcerer / Philosopher's Stone into the Speed Force. He was flung back into the future, and he saw Iris dying, and she's like, Iris, this is not what's gonna happen. She's like, you don't know that. So they basically tell the team, but Iris is like, no, we can't tell Quentin. Iris, have you seen Arrow season 3 and what Quentin went through when he found out Sarah died? You're basically telling us to go through the exact same thing again, but instead of her already being dead, you're going to die. But telling him, yeah, they keep saying it'll hurt him, but that's what happened with Quentin, and guess what? He's all fine. He didn't have a heart condition. He didn't die. Now Quentin, why do the Arrowverse keep doing this to me? They make me get mad at my characters. Yeah, so Wally just leaves because he's like, Dad Joe deserves to know, and even HR's like, yeah, he's right, Joe deserves to know. He's like, it'll hurt him. But he already freaked out over losing Sav when Wally hurt Sav, when Savitar hurt Wally. You know what this will do to him? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. He'll be mad, but he won't, like, say, ooh, Iris, you should have told me. Like, what is up with this show? And like, you know, so they keep this from Joe. They keep this from Joe because everyone is, Wally could, you know, tell him, but no, Wally doesn't. And they, anyway, so yeah, so they take down Plunder. They don't tell Joe because even though that's the best decision for all of our characters now, they don't go through with that. Yeah, they don't go through with it. And yeah, this is basically like Sarah and Quentin. This is basically just like Laurel calling Quentin using Sarah's voice. I'm not telling you. That hurt me. That was one of the, Midnight City was one of the worst Arrow episodes I've ever seen. And that was before season 4 was terrible. So I hope Flash season 3 doesn't go down Arrow season 4, even Arrow season 3 terribleness. Or has some good episodes, some bad episodes. So yeah. So anyway, they decide to defeat Plunder, but Wally defeats him, and so they basically, you know, decide to go and take down all the basically they basically vibe in, they basically vibe into the future and see that all the headlines is that is that Star Labs Museum closes, Killer Frost still at large, city still surviving after a guerrilla attack, mayor, I think, yeah. So they basically take every headline and basically now want to use every headline to see how they can change the future. So Wally basically takes down Plunder by Plunder, and so basically Julian shows up and is like, "Hey, I took your offer." He's like, "What offer?" To join Team Flash. And Barry calls it the worst name ever. He's like, "You really asked Julian to join Team Star Labs?" Barry, I like when they call it Team Flash, because sorry for my glasses, but calling a name Team Star Labs is one of the worst names ever. So yeah, so she's like, "Hey, he's been through so much. He's been through so much. Barry, after your parents died, I helped you. And after Cisco, after you lost Dante, I helped you too." And yeah, but he's like, he's Dr. Alchemy. He gave Wally his powers, and Wally's like, "Yeah, I don't mind that one." So yeah, so they eventually decide to join teams. He decides to join Team Flash, not Team Star Labs. Thank you, Barry. And he's like, and he makes this joke about, he's like, yeah, his last team was murdered by Savitar. Not a good joke, Julian. You don't want to tell your current team that about how your last team was murdered by Savitar. So yeah, so you should really work on your conversation skills. But that end of the episode, we see a girl popping out of a portal and showing HR. What is this girl on with HR? Human Resources, you're in trouble. We call them Human Resources because who else has a name HR? So I still thought this episode was pretty good. It was enjoyable. I liked it. I didn't like how they said that Iris hasn't seen the time vault before, even though in season 2, episode 18, she was literally in the time vault. I guess that's bad writing, or that scene was just taken out of the show. But I'm just saying, Iris has been in the time vault before. I like how Barry's Wells called it his time vault. But they know it. Iris was in there in season 18 versus Zoom. She was basically in the time vault herself. What does she mean she hasn't been in there before? I have no idea. That's just bad writing. So anyway, that was it for this video, and I'll see you next time for more of The Flash. Zoom.